Okay, so we're connecting. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. All right, so I've got the comments there. I got the volume. We're good to go. Hello. Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. I like to come on and do a live every Thursday with Q&A, and I'm going to be more consistent with this. So I'm here. It is 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Sorry. Yes, that is correct. Eastern. I was like, yeah, math has never been my strong suit. I just want to be clear about that. No matter how many times I think, math is easy, I typically will make a mistake. So I am live on Instagram. Hi, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Some of you may not see this on YouTube. I don't know. Hey, Root Flower Fruit Juice, how are you? It is Thursday. It is Q&A Thursday, and I'm also live on Facebook on my page and my profile. So if you're watching on any of those platforms, write something in the chat right now that says hello, hi, I'm here, etc. Now, the purpose of this, hey Odell, how are you? Is to answer questions. So you can put a question in the chat and I will answer it. Okay. I always like to start off with a question that I may get throughout my week when I see my clients. That way I kind of get you guys warmed up while you're thinking about what you want to type. But I'm a mindset coach. I specialize in everything mindset, pretty much everything is that. I love conversations about identity. And then, of course, manifestation is one of my main jams, or the spiritual principle of just calling in more of what you want and less of what you don't want. Okay, so one of the questions I got this week, I do a master class. By the way, I have a free master class that I'm doing on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, make sure you go to that link and you register. Um, and we'll be talking about how to be more so you can have more and do more in 2024. So make sure that you join that. Hey, Yay Ballard, how are you? Welcome to the live on Instagram. So I got a question this week, which is, hey, I've had some success and I haven't been able to parlay that or multiply it into more success. And the question was posed, what am I doing wrong? Okay. So in general, I believe that we need to kind of take that question out of our sort of our index of questions. What am I doing wrong? There's nothing that you're really doing wrong. If you're doing something in earnest and you feel that it is going to bring you good outcomes, good fruit, so to speak. When you plant a seed, right, and you're watering it and you're fertilizing it, every seed that you plant has a gestation period. Hey, Garcia, Gaither, how are you? Welcome to the live. So, my advice to you is to make sure that you're not telling yourself you're doing anything wrong as you're pursuing something. So it would be the equivalent of planting a seed and then saying, I don't think this is going to work. So what you want to do is say, hey, I'm doing a lot of different activities. Is there anything I could shift or I could think about differently or I could, maybe add? But this whole idea of right, wrong, good, bad, these binaries are what usually get us caught in this feeling of we're doing a lot wrong and nothing's working. And the thing about that phrase, nothing's working, right? Nothing's moving, nothing's changing. Well, the thing is, we're changing every second, right? They say every 7 years, I think it is, our cells in our body are completely replaced. There's so much happening underneath the surface that you will never know about. By the way, for Garcia, yay, and anyone else that wasn't here at the top of the live, I'm doing Q&A Thursday. Hey, Air B2, me too. You have the opportunity to write a question in the chat that you may have questions about manifestation, mindset, a situation that you're personally dealing with in your life that you would like a little bit of guidance, advice on. So you just type it in the chat and I'm happy to answer it. Whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, etc. I'm live everywhere all at the same time. So make sure you type that in the chat. Anyway, so to continue, this idea that you're doing something wrong has you sort of second guessing yourself. You don't trust yourself. And I don't think that's the right question. I just was saying the other night is that I got into True Detective Night Country. If you haven't seen it, it was Jodie Foster, True Detective, the latest installment. And I had never watched it before, but that's why they bring certain actors to things, because when you like an actor, you'll watch something. So anyway, I watched True Detective Night Country, and Jodie Foster's character was a detective or a police officer, and she would say to her, team, like, wrong question, right? Like, ask, what's the question here? What question should we be asking, right? And so I think the wrong question is, and I know I just said don't do wrong, right? But is what am I doing wrong? Or maybe the better question is, what could I not be seeing, or where else could there be? Because I'm doing a lot, and I feel like it's it's what I'm called to do, and I'm not seeing the fruit. So I was talking about nothing's changing, and there's so much happening under the surface you don't know. I got a text yesterday from someone I haven't had a text exchange with in a number of years. Now, we've communicated perhaps online, like maybe through Instagram, but we know each other professionally. And she said that after mentioning your name a few times, yesterday at work, I thought I'd send you a text. And I thought that was a beautiful message, but it's an example of an affirmation that I'm often saying, which is my name is being mentioned in rooms I'm not even in places, right? People are mentioning me. And hey, what's up, Irv? How you doing? Welcome, The Real McCoy Auto. And the important thing to recognize is that people are you want to be speaking things over your life, speaking things into existence that are not in your awareness at this present time. So how does it become in your, awareness? Existence is just that you're speaking it. So all I was saying was, my name is being mentioned in rooms. I am always thought of fondly. Jobs are just coming to me. And last year I got a $50,000 speaking contract, and I didn't go out and look for it. I didn't go and call everybody I knew who does speaking. Somebody just called me up and said, hey, we're doing something and we want you to do it. And we'd like you to do a 4-part series. And that turned into almost 50K, about 250, 2,500 short. But nonetheless, it was the biggest speaking contract I've ever gotten. And all I was doing was just my daily stuff for my business, nothing to do with actual speaking. I wasn't looking for a speaking engagement. I did say I want to speak more. That was an intention that I had, but that was it. So I'm mentioning that just so you understand that there's always something happening. This idea that nothing's happening, nothing's moving, no changes, nothing, I can't see anything. That's a myth. It's impossible. Right now, as you're sitting here in your possible chair, wherever you're sitting, you may feel stillness, but you're also having, your blood is pumping, your nerve endings are firing. Your body's digesting. There's so much going on that you can't hear, see, etc. So there's always movement. So this idea that nothing's happening, you have to stop claiming that for yourself, because you are the operant power. You are the source of everything that happens in your life. Whether you label it good or bad, you called it in some way, shape, or form. And so now we have to be more cognizant, conscious, aware, attention. Where are we putting our attention on this idea that nothing's happening or everything's happening for us? Everything is happening for our best and highest good. So much good is happening for me. Life is happening for me, not to me. These are general statements you can say that are just sort of speaking over, like, so much good is happening to me. So much good. Money just flows into my experience. Da, 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 da. So as I said, it is Q&A Thursday. I believe there are a few people watching on Instagram. I've not been. I'm just going to write a question here. So it's type your question in the chat so I can answer it. All right. So it's going to show up on both YouTube and Facebook. It's not going to show up on Instagram, but here's what I can do. I can add it to the broadcast. So now I've put it on the thing. So type your question in the chat so I can answer it. Isn't that great? It's right there. So I have the ability, hold on, what happened there? There we go. Okay, cool. So I have the ability to add it to the broadcast because I'm using Ecamm. So if you have a question here on this Q&A Thursday, something you're challenged with, something you're dealing with in your business, a question, anything, go ahead and just type it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it. But I just started us off with a question I got on a class I did this week. So I would love to have a question to answer. Excuse my yawn, but just got to be authentic. Sometimes yawns show up, and that's just the way it is. So, anyway, but yeah, please type your question in the chat. And you might think you don't have a question, but anything you're handling in life, whether it be relationships, business, success, family, whatever, it's all part of it. Mindset or just your mental state, the way you're thinking about something is all part of it. So feel free to jump into the chat and type a question. All right. So the other thing, let's see, what else has happened this week? So it's sort of like, checking yourself and recognizing all the limiting ways that you talk about yourself, right? So the other day I was thinking about something and I've been telling myself something repeatedly. So I might say something like, I just don't have the right idea yet. Yeah, I'm struggling with this, right? And while there's a school of thought that will tell you that yes, what's the word? That yes, that is perhaps a truth in the moment. That's not the overall truth, because you want to speak as if, speak of things that are not as though they were, right? And so every time I'm claiming not knowing, not having the right ideas, not being in the right place, not getting clients, not whatever, then that is now my reality. Now I'm telling the universe, I'm declaring it, right? Let there be light, and there was. It wasn't let there be light because I think that there is light, right? It's just I create the light. You create life and death with the power of your tongue. And so it's being mindful that while you think you're speaking the truth, you're actually speaking a limit over your life. So now I'm not saying that you might not be frustrated or you might not be tired and what's the word? Maybe just feeling a little bit lost, at times. And I want you to honor those emotions when they come up. And I don't want you to attach to them. Does that make sense? So by attaching to those emotions, you're actually becoming this version of yourself. So you're speaking over it, right? So it's sort of like when I forget something. And so I'll say this. There are times in my life where I might I'll be wanting to recall something, like the name of something or whatever, and we'll often say, "Oh, I forgot," right? But I say it'll come to me, right? And then but then in the next breath, or maybe a few moments later, I may say, "I just don't know what to do next. I don't know." And I feel like, yes, that's your truth. Oh, thank you, Irv. I appreciate that. I'm sure you guys are swimming along fine. And, all the new members don't even know that I ever existed. So I'm sure that MMU is doing fine. But it is nice to be missed. It is nice to be thought of fondly, well, etc. So I will say I don't miss getting up at 4:30 in the morning, but I do miss you guys. I miss the daily being able to pour into a group and just have people show up and me get an opportunity to be a part of their day in a positive way in such volume, right? And I know that is also so I those moments that's what I miss. But yeah, not, some of it I don't miss, getting up early, etc. Like I'm not getting up at 4:30 anymore, and I don't miss that. Somebody didn't wake up today. Oh, somebody didn't wake up today. Oh, okay. um okay, I don't know who that is, but I was it you? You didn't wake up today? I'm assuming you're talking about yourself. You didn't go today. Um, it happens, right? Like we all have these schedules, and then every once in a while, it is about giving yourself grace, right? This idea that you have to get up every morning at 4:30 and you've got to do this, that, and the other. Hey, KCDX 06. That is something that we want to recognize, that we need to give ourselves grace, right? There is no exact formula to success. There's just what you believe will take you there. And so that I want to say that, because while we're going to places and listening to people like myself, like David Shands, like him 500, and whoever else you're watching online, They're giving what they believe to be the truth. And the thing is about truth is that everybody has truth. And so you're either adopting someone else's truth as your own, or you're making your own truth. And what I want you to understand is that ultimately you're the one that makes anything truth. So if someone says, like, let's say you go to Q&A with me, with David Chance, hey, what's up, my new favorite DJ? Let's say you go to and you ask this person a question, and let's say you wrote a book and someone says, yeah, I don't think that book's going to do very well. Now, I offered what one would say is my truth, but also my opinion, because all truth is pretty much an opinion. And then you adopt that and go, oh, okay, I believe you that it won't sell. When you were so excited about it, you so believed in something, right? And I use the example of when I was on, I had a coaching program I was in about maybe 2 years ago now. And I went to my coach and I said, I want to do this thing. And he said, I don't think it's going to work. And I said, oh man, I was kind of discouraged for a second. And then I just said, screw it. I'm going to do it anyway. Even though I don't have all the answers, even though I'm not clear on everything, I'm just going to fricking do it and just forge ahead without a clear idea, without whatever. And I made 55 grand in 1 month. Okay. And I say that not to brag about the number, but just to show how my certainty, my truth was more powerful than my coach's truth. And my coach wasn't wrong. I wasn't clear. I didn't have the best, I didn't have it all mapped out, but that's not how I operate. So the thing is that while everyone else is sharing their best practices, what they know to be true and formulaically to work, they can't tell you what will work in your life with your certainty and your power behind it. Does that make sense? I want to say that again. I hope you heard that. While someone may be sharing their best practices, what they know to be true formulaically, what they have found has worked in their life, they can't tell you what will work for you. Okay? And when you're certain, when you're clear, it just works for you. And then other people will then say, oh, I'm sure it's because they will always find. There's this great quote by, I believe it's Neville Goddard or someone, but say, man is famous for saying something won't work, right? It's impossible. And then when it does work, they'll then apply logic in the back to explain the impossible. So I know we said it was impossible before, but here's why that worked and we didn't see it before, but now we see it. And as Steve Jobs is famously quoted as saying, you can only connect the dots looking backwards, you can't connect them looking forwards. Because in the Bible it says its ways are past finding out. So there's so much power and magic and spiritual mystique that is there, that is, and your job is, Joe Dispenza says that we are, that basically life, matter, an atom is 99.99999, right, percent energy, and life, atom, whatever, is 0.0000001% matter, like physical matter. But yet we only occupy the less than 1% of 1% of consciousness and awareness, and yet we're trying to see the whole picture, to have the eyes of God, right? And to see everything. But we came for the human experience to enjoy the unfolding, to see what it was like to be in the physical, right? God created man to experience itself as you, as me, as everyone, right? And so all of your experiences, all of your choices are divine in that it is an experience of life, not the life, right? So we don't experience reality as it is, we experience reality as we are. So we are having our own experience. So even though there are people that we would seek counsel from, we would want some advice to think differently, to see differently, no one can tell you what's possible for you and what's right for you. Now, sometimes you will see this person will tell you this thing, and you will decide, I guess I'm not that passionate about it, right? I had an option when my coach said, it won't work, it's not going to pay off, it's a mistake. No, he didn't say it was a mistake. He just said, you sound unclear. So maybe this, you might want to like work on that some more and then bring it back. Right. But I never brought it back. I just did it because he had his method. So he was teaching me one thing. I have a coach now that's teaching me something. And what I'm finding is I've got to do what feels right for me, what I believe in, even though it may buck against their systems, their processes. Because the reason that other people's systems, processes, formulas, frameworks work for them is because they believe in them. And then often we sort of piggyback off of their belief, and then we have our own, basically we're saying I believe in it because they believe in it, and then that's why it's working for us. It has nothing or very little to do with this is the way, right? The Mandalorian, right? The show on Disney Plus, they say like the Mandalorians have a saying that this is the way. And so I remember there was this episode where they never take their helmets off, because the idea, I believe, of the Mandalorian, this is the way, is that it is thought to be, like it's not about being a hero or like being known for who you are. It's more about representing this creed, this culture of these people and sort of whatever, right? And it reminds me of the story I told one of my people yesterday about the monks. The two monks go a walking, right? It's an old monk and a younger monk. Hey, Max. And the old monk and the younger monk are walking, and they happen upon a woman who's, sort of distressed at a stream and can't get across. And so in this particular order, in the monk's order, you're not allowed to touch women. You're not supposed to interact with women, right? This is kind of like what I'm talking about with the Mandalorian. This is the way. And so, without saying a word to the woman or otherwise, the monk picks her up, takes her across the stream, puts her down on the other side, rejoins his companion, his what's the word, colleague, and they just continue walking in silence. But the young monk is absolutely blown away by this. He is like, what? That the order says we're not supposed to touch women. You just did it. But he's not saying anything. He's just kind of stewing inside for quite a while. And then, of course, his, kind of curiosity, frustration, just absolute perplexedness gets to him. And he finally says to the older monk, what? I thought we're not supposed to touch women. Like, why did you do that? Something like that. And the older monk says, just very nonchalantly, I put that woman down 2 hours ago. You're still carrying her. So the thing about these rules, these edicts, these policies, that we don't do these things, right? And this is the best practice. This is the best way. That is according to that person's experience. And your job is to ask yourself, is this the best experience or way for me? And can I get myself behind it? So, whatever you choose to do, however you choose to endeavor, whatever direction you go in, you have to have the faith of put your power, because you're putting your power behind it. And so often we're doing things that we don't believe will work. We're doing things that we're not certain is the right thing for us because someone we admire, we see has the success, the receipts, did it that way. And the challenge with that is I mean, the most of the time it works, and a lot of people then go and follow that person, become a devotee of that person's teachings, and then they also are evidence that it works. So that sometimes, even though many people, hey Freddie, even though many people will say that worked for me, you may follow that exact same framework, that blueprint, that strategy, and get zero results. But it isn't that the strategy works or doesn't work, it's how do you feel about what you're doing? Does that make sense? Are you plugging your power into what you're doing in the proper way? Because if you are more skeptical than you are faithful about whatever action you're taking, it isn't the action itself that is the power, you're the power. So that's why things don't work for some and then they work for others. Some people just fully faith, said, I'm going to do it. It's going to work for me. And they made it work. And there's other people who are looking for proof of concept, and they're saying that person made lots of money doing this, so I'm going to do it. But when they met with mixed results or even a delay in something that they wanted or expectation, they find themselves doubting, not believing, not thinking it's going to work, and they may shift, pivot, and bounce all over the place. So, whatever you plug yourself into, you must believe it will work. And that's why it works for some and it doesn't work for others, right? We're looking for proof, right? Let's say I go through a dry spell, I'm going through something. You're your own proof. You're your own proof. But many of us don't really think about it that way. And so it's important that whatever you do, you have faith in. You have faith and belief in it. And it doesn't have to be whole faith, like in this idea of, I know it's gonna work, right? It's just more that whatever I do turns out successful. You can have general ways of thinking about yourself. Someone gave me a nice little reaction over on Facebook. So if you're still there, thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, thanks for being here. But I just want to be clear that you are the power. You are the operant power. And once, if you can make that understanding, there are certain things that when I work with a client, I'm getting them to agree to. So we have to have certain agreements that we're going to rule our life by. We're going to make our own set of rules. We're not going to borrow someone else's. We're going to make our own set of rules that we're going to say and that we're going to return to as our core foundation that we're going to build our empire on top of. And know that first the empire is within and then it starts to show without. But you can't do that if you're just following everyone else's rules in hopes, because you're looking for something to be proven before you will have the faith. And almost everybody who's ever been successful, if you reverse engineer it, they were just so certain it would work, right? So anyway, so that is it. No one, I don't know if there are, it didn't seem that there was any questions today. So I may just pop off here, but I said a lot and I will post this. This will be live on my Facebook and my YouTube and etc. But I want you to start looking at, if you watch this far, all I'm saying is sit down today. This is the assignment. Write out everything that you want to be the rules of your life. Don't worry about what society's rules are. Don't worry about what that guru says. And if you like their rule, that's fine, but you've got to be able to stand behind it. And none of these things should require, much like, the whole carpool lane thing. Like, although we could logically understand it, they came up with this arbitrary fine. They said that if you ride in that lane or if you park here, they came up with these monies. We don't know why they are the way they are. They just made it so. So I want you to make it so. What are the rules? Not the consequences. I know a lot of people like to talk about that, but what are your rules that are ruling the world of you? And if you don't like it, if it doesn't fit for you, that it takes 10 years, that it's going to take time, then throw it out and make a different rule. Don't worry about the practicality, the logicness, the realistic, because that I'm not behind. Okay? All right. So that's it. That's all I got. I hope that you all who have watched this far enjoyed it. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you. Remember that I have a webinar coming up next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. It is about how to be more so you can have more and do more in 2024. So please go ahead and register for that webinar. Thank you so much for watching up until this point, and I'll see you next time. Okay.